In every life, when the battle gets too heavy to carry, when your strength seems spent and your hope feels like it's fading. But I came to tell somebody today, you are not standing in this fight alone. When the storm rises and the pressure mounts, that's not the end. That's the moment when God steps in. You might feel surrounded by struggle. The truth is, the power of the Almighty is surrounding your struggle. The same force that breathed life into you is about to breathe victory through you. This message isn't for those who have it all figured out. This is for the ones who've cried in silence, fought unseen battles, and still showed up with a smile. Title today is, The Lord is Stepping into Your Battle, not tomorrow, not next year. Right now. Because the moment you stop trying to fight by yourself and let God move through you, everything begins to shift. You see, it's not your weakness that disqualifies you. It's the arena where divine strength is revealed. The same God who designed your destiny is about to defend your destiny. You just need to stand still long enough to let him step in. There's something powerful about realizing that your battle has a purpose. Most people spend their lives trying to run away from pain, from struggle, from moments that feel too heavy to bear, not realizing that those very moments are shaping them into who they were destined to become. You see, battle isn't there to destroy you, it's there to develop you. The same fire that burns straw is the same fire that purifies gold. So when life gets heated, don't curse the fire, because that fire is refining something within you that ease and comfort never could. Think about it. Every great person you've ever admired in any field, any walk of life, didn't become who they are because everything was easy. They became powerful because they faced something painful and chose to keep moving anyway. They found purpose in their pain. They discovered that what they went through wasn't random. It was refining. When you start to see your struggle that way, everything changes. You stop asking, why me? And start declaring, try me. Because you understand that the challenge is not happening to you. It's happening for you. There's a story unfolding in your life right now that you may not even see. Maybe you're in a season where things feel uncertain. Your plans fell apart. Your confidence took a hit. Your relationship shifted, or the path you thought was clear suddenly feels clouded. It's easy in moments like that to feel like you're losing. But here's the truth: losses are often lessons dressed in disguise. Every closed door, every disappointment, every setback carries a seed of direction. The rejection you faced wasn't meant to hurt your worth. It was meant to redirect your steps. Let's make it real. You wake up every morning, go to work, try to keep it all together, you give your best, but it feels like life keeps throwing more at you. Bills, responsibilities, expectations. You're tired, maybe even discouraged. You look around and wonder, when is it going to get easier? But what if the difficulty you're facing isn't punishment, but preparation? What if it's building endurance in you, discipline in you, resilience in you? Qualities that easy days could never teach. Look at the seed in the ground. To the naked eye, it looks buried. But what's really happening? It's not buried. It's being planted. There's a difference. Being buried means something is over. Being planted means something is beginning. So when life feels like you've been pushed underground, when pressure surrounds you and darkness hides your potential, remember, you're not buried. You're planted. Growth is happening in the soil of struggle. You can't see it yet, but roots are forming, strength is building, and in due time, you're going to break through the surface with new power. Every battle brings with it a lesson, a new revelation about who you are and what you carry. You'll never know how strong you really are until being strong is your only option. The pain that once made you cry will soon make you wise. The things that once intimidated you will one day empower you. Because when you walk through the fire and come out the other side, you realize you're not the same person who walked in. Something inside you changes. A quiet confidence, a deeper peace, a sense of purpose that no one can take away. And let's be honest, sometimes the hardest part is not the battle itself, but the waiting, the moments where you've done everything you can and nothing seems to shift. You prayed, you tried, you worked, and still it feels stuck. Purpose often hides in patience. The waiting season is not wasted, it's working. When the butterfly is in the cocoon, it's not sleeping, it's transforming. So even when it looks like nothing is moving, everything is moving beneath the surface. The transformation takes time, but it's worth it. When you begin to trust that every battle has a purpose, you stop fearing them. You start facing them with a new mindset. You stop saying, this is the end, and start saying, this is the beginning of something greater. Because every time you face a new challenge, it's proof that there's more inside you still waiting to be discovered. Comfort never brings out your calling. Challenge does. It's the pressure that produces diamonds, the storm that strengthens the tree, and the struggle that reveals the warrior in you. So today, in challenge to the running from the battle, stand tall in it. Instead of asking for it to end, ask for the strength to understand it. Tell yourself, there's something in this moment I'm meant to learn, something in this pain I'm meant to grow from. Because when you shift your perspective, your experience changes. The same battle that once made you bitter will now make you better. The same obstacle that once made you fearful will now make you faithful. And one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, you'll look back and realize why you had to go through it. You'll see that every sleepless night, every tear, every fight was molding you into someone unshakable. You'll thank the battle because it introduced you to a version of yourself you didn't even know existed. So the next time life hits hard, take a deep breath and remind yourself this battle has a purpose. It's not here to defeat you. It's here to define you. It's not here to end you. It's here to elevate you. You may be in the fire now, but you are being forged into something stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever before. Don't curse your battle, because it's the very thing that's preparing you for your breakthrough. You don't have to fight alone. Those words sound simple, but they carry a power that can change everything about the way you face life. Most of us were raised to believe that strength means doing everything by ourselves, that asking for help is a sign of weakness. But the truth is, the greatest strength you'll ever know is not in fighting alone, but in learning to let divine power flow through you. You are not built to carry every weight on your own shoulders. Some battles are not meant to be fought by human strength. They are meant to be surrendered to a higher strength. So many people wake up every morning pretending to have it all under control. They walk through life wearing a smile that hides exhaustion, pain, and confusion. They tell themselves, I've got this, even when deep down they know they're running on empty. They try to fight through anxiety, stress, fear, and disappointment all alone. But what they don't realize is that when you try to carry everything by yourself, you eventually collapse under the weight of it. You were never meant to be your own source of power. You were designed to connect to the source, the divine power of God that never runs dry. Imagine your phone trying to keep running without ever being plugged in. No matter how powerful it is, no matter how new or advanced, it can't last forever. It needs to be recharged. You're the same way. You can't keep giving, pushing, and striving without staying connected to the one who gives you strength. When you disconnect from that source, you start to feel drained, weary, and overwhelmed. But the moment you reconnect, through faith, through surrender, through quiet trust, suddenly the weight feels lighter, your vision becomes clearer, and your steps gain power again. There's a reason why storms feel so loud. They're meant to distract you from remembering that you're not alone in them. You can get so focused on the noise of your problem that you forget the presence that stands beside you. You can't see the wind, but you can feel its power. You can't see God with your eyes, but you can sense His strength holding you up when everything else tries to knock you down. The truth is, the moment you stop fighting by yourself and allow divine power to fight through you, everything shifts. Let's take a real life example. Think of a single mother raising her children, working 2 jobs, doing her best to hold everything together. There are nights when she's too tired to even cry, mornings when she doesn't know how she'll make it through the day. Yet somehow, she finds the strength to get up and keep going. That strength doesn't come from the paycheck, from the coffee, or even from her willpower. It comes from something greater within her. There's a quiet power that whispers, "You are not alone." Every time she chooses to keep going when everything says give up, that's divine strength in motion. Or think of a man who lost his job after years of dedication. Everything he worked for seems to have vanished overnight. He feels defeated, angry, unsure of what to do next. At first, he tries to fix it alone, sending resumes, making calls, forcing solutions. But the more he pushes, the more doors close. One night, he finally breaks down and says, "God, I can't do this alone." And that's the turning point. The moment he surrenders, something inside shifts. The weight doesn't vanish immediately, but the heaviness begins to lift. In the days that follow, unexpected opportunities appear, not because he fought harder, but because he finally let divine power step in. That's the secret most people miss. Strength doesn't come from striving. It comes from surrender. The greatest victories in life are not won by force, but by flow. When you allow the divine to work through you, things begin to align in ways you could never orchestrate on your own. The right people show up. The right doors open. The right timing unfolds. You begin to walk with a calm confidence, not because everything is perfect, because you know you're not walking alone. When you rely only on yourself, life feels like a constant uphill climb. When you learn to lean into divine strength, you move differently. You stop trying to control every outcome and start trusting the process. You stop panicking about what's next and start finding peace in what's now. Because when you know you're not fighting alone, you stop feeling defeated. You start walking like someone who already knows victory is coming. Letting divine power into your battle doesn't mean giving up. It means partnering up. It means saying, "I'll do my part, but I trust God to do his." You take the steps and he provides the strength. You show up and he shows out. It's a collaboration between your effort and his energy. That's when the impossible becomes possible. That's when the walls that once stood tall begin to fall. And here's something beautiful. When you stop fighting alone, you stop living in fear. Because fear thrives in isolation, but faith grows in connection. You begin to see that you were never meant to be self-sufficient. You were meant to be God-sufficient. There's a big difference. Self-sufficiency says, "I can handle it." God's sufficiency says, "Even if I can't, I know who can." And that truth alone gives you peace that no storm can steal. So if you're tired, if you're overwhelmed, if you're carrying battles no one else sees, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. You don't have to fight this alone. There's a strength waiting to rise within you, a peace ready to steady you, a power greater than you that wants to work through you. You just have to let it in. Because the moment you stop fighting alone, you move from exhaustion to empowerment, from panic to purpose, from fear to faith. The battle might still be raging. Now you're not standing in it by yourself. The divine power that created you is fighting beside you, within you, and for you. When you realize that, truly realize it, you'll never see another battle the same way again. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in the middle of your struggle is to stand still. We live in a world that tells us to always be doing something to fix it, to move, to hustle, to make things happen. But there comes a moment in every journey where movement doesn't bring clarity, it brings chaos. You can be running in circles, chasing solutions, forcing outcomes, and still end up feeling lost. There are times when life will push you to the edge, and every instinct inside you will scream, "Do something." But what if the breakthrough doesn't come from doing, but from being still enough to let divine order take its course? Standing still doesn't mean giving up. It means shifting your position from panic to peace, from control to trust. It's about realizing that when you've done all you can do, it's time to let God do what only he can do. There's a moment where your effort must give space to divine execution. You've fought, you've tried, you've planned, and yet the door hasn't opened. Sometimes that's not a sign of failure. It's a signal to stop striving and start surrendering. Think about the ocean for a moment. When the waves are crashing and the current is strong, the swimmer who fights hardest against the tide is often the one who tires out first. But the swimmer who learns to float, who lets the water carry them, discovers that there is a rhythm even in the chaos. The same is true for life. When you stop flailing and start trusting, you begin to feel the current of divine guidance carrying you exactly where you're meant to go. There are seasons when standing still is the bravest thing you can do, because it takes courage to wait. It takes faith to stay calm when everything around you is shaking. Anyone can move when the path is clear, but it takes strength to stay when you can't see the next step. Stillness is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, I refuse to let fear make my decisions. I will wait until divine timing speaks. Because when you move in panic, you often move in the wrong direction. But when you move in peace, you move with purpose. Let's bring this into real life. Imagine a person who's been searching for a new job for months. They've applied everywhere, gone to interviews, followed up, and yet silence. Nothing seems to be working. The pressure mounts, the bills pile up, and the frustration grows. Every day feels heavier. At first, they keep pushing harder, sending more applications, making more calls, but it only leads to burnout. One day, they sit down exhausted and decide to stop for a moment. Instead of rushing, they take a deep breath and say, I've done all I can. Now I'm going to wait for the right door. A week later, out of nowhere, an unexpected opportunity appears, not from the places they chased, from the places they trusted would come in their time. That's the power of stillness. When you stop forcing outcomes, divine alignment begins to unfold. Standing still doesn't mean inactivity. It means intentional calm. It means choosing inner peace over outer pressure. It means holding your ground when your emotions want to run wild. The truth is, sometimes we get so busy trying to fix what's broken that we block what's being built. When you stand still, you allow clarity to rise. It's in stillness that you hear the quiet voice of guidance saying, this way. It's in stillness that your heart resets, your mind clears, and your strength renews. There's a lesson nature teaches us: trees don't chase the wind. They stand tall and let the season change around them. They don't rush to bloom, nor do they fight the fall. They understand that every season has its purpose. And you too must learn to stand still in your season, to trust that even if the leaves are falling, growth is still happening underground. You may not see it yet. Roots are deepening. Stability is forming. Strength is being built where no one can see. When you choose to stand still, you take back your power. You're no longer reacting to everything around you. You're responding from a place of peace. You stop letting circumstances dictate your emotions. You stop letting fear make you frantic. You become grounded, unshaken by the winds of uncertainty. Because you know that when divine timing moves perfectly. Not a moment too early, not a second too late. Standing still also teaches patience, and patience is the soil where purpose grows. Everyone wants instant results, quick answers, immediate change, but real transformation takes time. The seed doesn't bloom the moment it's planted. There's a hidden process in the dark that you can't rush. You have to wait, trust, and believe that the unseen is working in your favor. When you stand still, you're saying, I trust the process, even when I can't see the progress. Let me tell you, this peace is not found in the absence of problems. Peace is found in the presence of trust. And trust is what allows you to stand still when everything around you is moving. It's knowing that even if you can't see the full picture, the painter is still working on the masterpiece. Sometimes the pause is not punishment. It's protection. Maybe that door didn't open because it would have led you somewhere you weren't meant to be. Maybe that delay isn't denial, it's direction. So when life feels uncertain, when the pressure builds, the temptation to rush takes over. Remember this: the same God who brought you this far hasn't forgotten you now. He's just asking you to be still long enough to let him work. You're not losing time, you're gaining alignment. You're not stuck. You're being positioned. The battle might be raging, but victory doesn't always come through movement. Sometimes it comes through stillness. So stand firm, stand calm, stand believing. Because when you stand still, you're not doing nothing. You're doing the most powerful thing of all. You're trusting that the one who started the work will finish it. You're saying with your silence, I believe something greater is moving on my behalf. And that kind of faith, that still, quiet, unshakable faith, is what turns battles into blessings. Faith is not just a word people speak when times are easy. Faith is the bridge that carries you through when everything else falls apart. It's the force that whispers, keep going when your mind says, give up. It's invisible, but it changes everything you can see. Faith is what separates those who survive from those who rise. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about believing in a greater reality beyond what your eyes can see. When your heart chooses to trust what cannot be seen, you unlock a power that can move mountains, open doors, and calm storms. Every person faces moments where logic fails, when no plan seems to work, and when your best efforts produce no results. That's the point where faith steps in. Faith doesn't need proof to move. It moves first. Proof follows, like stepping onto a bridge that you can't fully see, but somehow you know will hold you. Faith says, even though I can't see how, I believe there's a way. And that belief becomes the very thing that creates the way. Imagine a person standing at the edge of a dark road at night. The headlights of their car only show a few feet ahead. They still drive forward, trusting that the road continues beyond what they can see. That's faith. It's moving forward one step at a time, even when the full path isn't visible. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You just need to trust that the next step will appear when it's time. Faith activates power because it shifts your focus. It takes your attention away from fear and places it on possibility. Fear says, what if it doesn't work? Faith says, what if it does? Fear looks at the obstacle and sees defeat. Faith looks at the same obstacle and sees opportunity. When you live by faith, you stop letting what you see define what you believe, and instead, you let what you believe redefine what you see. Think about a person battling through a difficult season. Maybe they've lost their job, maybe their health is failing, maybe they're facing emotional pain that feels unbearable. In that moment, it's easy to lose hope, to sink into doubt and despair. But faith rises and says, this isn't the end. Something greater is still coming, and that mindset changes everything. Because when faith enters, strength follows. Suddenly, the same situation that once looked impossible begins to shift, not because the circumstances changed first, but because the heart did. Faith turns pain into purpose, chaos into clarity, and delay into development. Let's take a simple daily life example. Young woman dreams of starting her own business, but she has no investors, no experience, and no clear plan. Everyone around her says it's too risky, too uncertain, yet something inside her refuses to let the dream die. She starts small with what she has, one idea, one customer, one day at a time. And step by step, doors begin to open, connections begin to appear, and her vision starts to take form. That's not luck. That's faith in action. She believed before she saw results, and her belief created momentum. Faith always activates power because it aligns your energy with divine flow. When you live by sight alone, you limit your life to what's visible. But when you live by faith, you open yourself to infinite possibilities. You begin to realize that your situation may look empty, but it's full of potential. Your setback may feel final. It's actually setting the stage for your next victory. Faith gives you the courage to step into unknown territory, trusting that the ground will appear beneath your feet. Sometimes faith isn't loud, it's quiet. It's that inner whisper that says, keep trusting, even when the world is shouting, give up. Faith doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes with stillness, peace that makes no sense in the middle of chaos. When everything around you feels unstable, faith anchors you. It keeps you steady when life tries to shake you. And here's what's beautiful: faith isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about believing that even in the not fine moments, something divine is still at work. It's saying, this hurts, but I know there's purpose in it. This delay is painful, but I know it's not denial. This struggle is heavy. I know it's shaping me for something greater. Faith doesn't erase your feelings. It strengthens you to rise above them. When faith activates, fear loses power, because fear and faith cannot coexist in the same heart. One will always drive the other out. Every time you choose to believe, even when there's no visible reason to, you silence fear's voice. You declare that divine power is greater than any problem. When you make that declaration, you start to attract outcomes that match your belief. Opportunities begin to flow. People begin to show up. Answers begin to appear. That's the quiet miracle of faith. It turns invisible belief into visible results. Think of faith like a seed. When you plant it in the soil, you don't see anything for a while. You water it, you nurture it, and still the ground looks the same. Something is happening beneath the surface. The roots are growing. The foundation is forming. Then one day, without warning, the seed breaks through the soil and blooms. That's how faith works. You might not see results today, but that doesn't mean nothing's happening. Your belief is creating growth underground, preparing to bloom in its season. So even when life feels uncertain, when the path looks dark, when you don't have the answers, hold on to faith. Don't let doubt steal your peace or fear steal your focus. Remember that the greatest breakthroughs come right after the moments you almost gave up. Keep believing when it's hardest, because that's when faith burns brightest. Faith is not just something you have, it's something you live. It's waking up every day and saying, I don't know how, but I know who. It's trusting that the same divine power that brought you this far won't leave you now. When you walk with that kind of faith, strong, quiet, steady, you activate a power that no obstacle, no delay, and no fear can ever stand against. Victory already belongs to you. Those words are not just meant to sound good. They are a truth you have to let sink deep into your spirit. Too many people live their lives fighting battles as if they are trying to earn victory, when in reality they are already standing in it. The moment you align your heart with divine purpose, the outcome is not in question anymore. You may still have to walk through storms, face setbacks, endure struggle, but the end of your story has already been written. And it ends in triumph. The problem is, most people don't live like they've already won. They live as if they are constantly trying to prove something, constantly trying to catch up, constantly trying to fight for what's already theirs. But when you realize that victory is not something you fight for, it's something you fight from, everything changes. When you start believing that victory belongs to you, you stop letting circumstances control your peace. You stop measuring success by what it looks like right now. Because sometimes it doesn't look like you're winning. Sometimes it looks like you're losing everything, your job, your confidence, your strength. But faith reminds you that appearance is not authority. Just because it looks like defeat doesn't mean it is defeat. Some battles are designed to look like losses until you realize that they were lessons leading you to a greater win. Imagine a person training for a marathon. The early mornings are hard, the muscles ache, the body wants to quit. During the training, it doesn't look like victory. It looks like struggle. What the runner knows is that every drop of sweat is a step closer to the finish line. Every day of pain is building endurance for the day of victory. The same is true for life. You might not see it yet, but every challenge, every setback, every tear is preparing you for the moment you'll look back and realize it all worked in your favor. You weren't losing, you were learning. You weren't being punished, you were being positioned. Victory is not the absence of struggle, it's the presence of perseverance. You win not because life gets easier, but because you refuse to stop when it gets hard. When you know victory belongs to you, you start walking differently. You stand taller. You speak with confidence. You carry peace even in the middle of pressure. You stop doubting whether you'll make it and start focusing on how you'll grow through it. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start declaring, even if I fall, I'll rise again. That's what real victory looks like. Not perfection, but persistence. Think about the process of climbing a mountain. From the bottom, it looks impossible. The peak seems too far, the path too steep. The climber doesn't stand there staring at the top in fear. They take one step at a time. They know that as long as they keep moving upward, they are already in motion toward victory. You may slip, you may stumble, you may even fall a few times, but as long as you rise and keep climbing, you're still winning. Victory is not always about reaching the top quickly. Sometimes it's about having the courage to keep climbing when everything in you wants to turn back. There's a quiet confidence that comes when you realize you're not fighting alone. Victory belongs to you not because you are perfect, because divine strength is within you. The same power that created the stars, that part sees, that turns chaos into order, is the power that flows through you when you believe. You are not weak, you are wired for victory. You were never meant to stay in defeat because there is something inside you that refuses to quit. That's divine design. That's the spark that makes you rise after every fall, that whisper that says, keep going, when everything else says, stop. Maybe. You've been through seasons where it looked like you lost everything. Friends walked away, opportunities vanished, dreams crumbled. But here you are, still standing. That's proof of victory. You might not have everything you wanted, but you have everything you need to rebuild. You might have scars, but scars don't mean you lost. They mean you survived. They mean you healed. They mean you've been through the fire and came out refined, not ruined. That's what victory feels like. Quiet, steady strength that doesn't need to boast because it already knows who it is. In daily life, victory shows up in simple, powerful ways. It's the mother who keeps believing in her child when others have given up. It's the man who wakes up and tries again after failure. It's the young person who chooses to stay true to themselves when the world pressures them to conform. It's the person battling anxiety but still showing up, still choosing peace, still finding reasons to smile. That's victory, not perfection, but endurance. Not never falling, but never staying down. When you know that victory already belongs to you, you stop chasing validation. You stop letting opinions shape your worth. You stop measuring success by applause and start measuring it by growth. Because the victory that matters most is not what happens around you, it's what happens within you. The moment you rise above bitterness, you've won. The moment you forgive instead of retaliating, you've won. The moment you find peace in chaos, you've won. Every time you choose faith over fear, love over hate, progress over comfort, that's victory. So no matter what battle you're in today, remind yourself the outcome is already written in your favor. You might be in the middle of the fight. The victory is already yours. The ending has already been decided. Don't let temporary pain make you doubt permanent promise. The road might be rough. Every step is taking you closer to the fulfillment of what's already done. You're not fighting to win, you're fighting to reveal the win that's already within you. So walk like a winner, even if you're still in the war. Speak like a victor, even if you're still in the valley. Smile like someone who knows that light always follows darkness. Because it does. Every sunrise after every night is a reminder that victory always comes. And one day soon, you'll look back and realize that everything you went through, every setback, every tear, every sleepless night was just preparing you to step fully into the victory that has been yours all along. There comes a moment in life when everything you've endured and everything you've prayed for and everything you've waited on begins to align. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't always arrive in the way you expect. But when divine timing steps in, everything begins to make sense. The battles you thought would break you were actually building you. The delays you called disappointments were actually divine redirections. And the moments you thought were wasted were the very moments that were preparing you for what's coming next. That's the beauty of purpose. It moves quietly, often unseen, shaping you while you're busy wondering if anything is working. When you understand that everything in your life has a season, you stop forcing what's not ready and start trusting what's unfolding. There's power in patience, because patience isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing what you can and trusting that what you can't will happen when it's meant to. Sometimes we get frustrated when our prayers aren't answered right away, when opportunities don't open, when doors remain closed. You have to remember, a door that opens too soon can lead you to a place you're not yet prepared to handle. Divine timing is not delay, it's protection. It's grace disguised as waiting. Think about the process of fruit growing on a tree. You can't rush it. You can't pull the fruit from the branch before it's time, or it will never taste as sweet. It needs sun, rain, and time to ripen. The same is true for your life. You might want the promotion now, the breakthrough now, the answer now, but if it came too early, it would spoil under the weight of unpreparedness. Every challenge you face, every moment of waiting is nurturing you, building wisdom, endurance, and gratitude so that when your season arrives, you can carry the blessing without breaking under it. Sometimes the hardest battles are not the ones fought with others, the ones fought within yourself. The battle between wanting to move and being told to wait. You may look around and see others getting ahead, reaching milestones, celebrating successes while you're still in the same place, and it hurts. It feels like life forgot your name. But remember, you're not behind, you're in process. Everyone's path unfolds differently. Just because someone else's blessing arrives sooner, that doesn't mean yours isn't coming. It just means your story requires more preparation because your destination is greater than where you are. In daily life, we often try to take control of everything, the timing, the outcome, the process. But control is an illusion. The more you try to force things to happen, the more resistance you create. True strength is not in control, it's in surrender. It's in saying, I've done my part, and now I trust the divine to do the rest. When you learn to rest in that trust, peace replaces pressure. You start seeing signs of movement even when things look still. You realize that while you've been waiting, God has been working, arranging the right connections, preparing the right opportunities, shaping you into the person capable of walking through the doors you've been praying for. Take, for example, a young man who dreams of being successful in his career. He applies for his dream job and gets rejected. He tries again elsewhere. Again, the door closes. Frustration begins to settle in and doubt starts whispering, maybe you're not good enough. But a year later, when he least expects it, he gets an offer for a position even greater than what he imagined. A role that perfectly fits his gifts, pays more, and gives him purpose. Looking back, he realizes that the rejections weren't rejections at all. They were redirections. Divine timing wasn't denying him, it was preparing him. What he thought was delay was actually destiny unfolding. The truth is, divine timing rarely makes sense in the moment. It only becomes clear when you look back and see how everything that once felt random actually fit together perfectly. Every heartbreak taught you compassion. Every disappointment taught you resilience. Every delay taught you patience. Every no was leading you closer to a better yes. The pieces that didn't make sense then are the very ones that complete the picture now. That's the power of divine orchestration. It connects the dots you can't yet see. And sometimes the waiting is where the transformation happens. The waiting season humbles you. It teaches you to depend less on your plan and more on divine wisdom. It strips away impatience, pride, and fear, replaces them with trust, strength, and peace. Waiting refines you so that when the blessing arrives, you can recognize it and appreciate it deeply. Blessings without maturity can become burdens. But when you've grown through the process, you carry your blessings with gratitude, not entitlement. You see, victory is not just about the outcome, it's about who you become in the process of reaching it. The person you are today is stronger, wiser, more capable because of everything you've endured. And that growth, that inner strength, is evidence that divine timing is at work. You didn't miss your chance. You didn't fall behind. You're right where you need to be. The same way night always turns into morning, your season of waiting will turn into a season of breakthrough. It's just a matter of time. So if you're in a season of uncertainty, if you're praying for change and nothing seems to move, don't lose heart. The silence doesn't mean absence. The delay doesn't mean denial. It means alignment is happening. You're not forgotten. You're being prepared. Every unseen detail, every hidden lesson, quiet moment is part of a divine design greater than anything you could imagine. One day you'll look back and say, now I understand why it took so long. Now I see why it didn't happen when I wanted it to. And you'll realize that the timing wasn't late, it was perfect. Because when it's your time, no one can stop it, no obstacle can block it, no enemy can delay it, and no circumstance can cancel it. Divine timing never fails. It arrives right on schedule, not on your watch, but on the watch of the one who knows the end from the beginning. And when that moment comes, you'll see that everything you went through was not in vain. It was the preparation for the victory that was already written with your name on it.